Welcome to the Chronically Awesome podcast with me, Katie Rose, recording my thoughts and realizations about the mind, the body, and all things woo-woo, looking at life through the lens of spirituality, and sharing things I believe should be taught to everyone so we can begin to heal the next generations, healing traumas, transcending the ego, and living an empowered, soul-led life of pure awesomeness. Hello, my loves. So, it's been a while. It's been 3 months. I'm pretty sure before my last podcast, it'd been a while before that one as well. But if you have listened to my last podcast, you will know that the reason that it was a long break before the last one was because I was going through depression. And the reason it's been 3 months since my last one now is because it's kind of the aftermath of that, and there's been summer holidays. Also, my part-time job, my contract came to an end, so then I had to find another job because we thought that job was going to continue, then it didn't, and it was a whole thing. So that was stressful. I did get a new part-time job, which has been brilliant, and but it is different because it's a support worker job. It is also including sleep-ins, so it is not something I ever saw myself doing, but it's been brilliant and I'm really, really enjoying it. But while starting the new part-time job, it was also the summer holidays, and then I couldn't also do my business because it just wasn't enough of me to go around. So it ended up being that I took a step back from my business over the summer holidays, which I thought brilliant. I needed a little break anyway, readjust, reevaluate, check where I am. What is it that I wanted to do? I kind of thought I'd make some plans as well of where my business is going. And I had all this boom, 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 boom energy. And then I stepped away. I learnt my new role with my new job. And I realized that I put so much time and effort into my business in a way that I never realized I was doing. It was like this constant. There was always me working in the background, even though I thought I wasn't working. It's quite bizarre how you can even do that. So I would be thinking, right, I finished work for the day and that's it. But then I'm like, no, I'm still thinking. I can't switch off mentally. I would still be thinking, okay, so what can I post tomorrow? What do I need to film? What do I need to get together? What is the next sort of theme that I'm going to be talking about? What's the next podcast? What's the next event I'm holding? Where am I going with this? So what am I doing? So I need to plan this out, and I need to do that, and I need to do that. And then there's the website. There's a whole other side of things, and then there's always something that you've got to do or you got to learn, and there's editing, and there's just there's just so much that you're just constantly doing. So when I actually stepped back then, I was like, oh, I can breathe. This weight that I had no idea I was carrying around just disappeared, and I was like, well, that's nice. But then I was like, well, I don't want to go back to that, so I'm gonna have to think about what I want in the future and how I'm going to go back into my business, because the way I was running it was not helpful at all. And when I stepped away, I was like, how was I doing that? How was I putting that much time and effort into it? Because as soon as I stepped away, it was like, where did all this energy come from? Where did all this time come from? And it was quite a sort of aha moment, because I had just been doing it for so many years. I started a business back in my son was born 2012, so I think it was about 2013 when I started. I was making silver jewelry back then, but that's when I started becoming self-employed. And then from there, my business has changed as I've changed. I've grown, I've learnt things, and my ideals and my beliefs and everything else have changed, and my experiences completely and utterly changed. So my business changed with it. And 10 years, a decade of me just constantly working in the background, just doing something, trying to grow something, create something. I've put so much time, effort and love into creating a business, something that felt like me. And yet when I stepped back from it, I was like, that's not me. It's a part of me, but it's not really what I'm really wanting and dreaming, because as I've stepped away, I became very aware that my business wasn't being run in a place of wholeness, of me completely. It was coming from a very big place of needing money, needing to pay the bills, this fear, this scarcity, this lack. It was always the sort of driving force behind it. And this is why my mind was always like running in, what can I do next? What's the next thing to do? Where am I going? Oh, I gotta be better. I gotta do better. I gotta do more. I gotta do more. Gotta give more. Gotta give more. And that is how I ended up just like so much energy, just being given into a business that had no focus really, because it was always coming from, I need to pay the bills. And yet after 10 years of putting so much time and effort in, doing all these courses, learning, growing, not once did I get enough money to cover my bills for the month. It's never been anything that could pay my bills. At one point I got a good momentum going, thinking I was getting there, you know. I still didn't cover the bills, but I got a nice little chunk, and then it would just disappear again. And there was never this consistency of building something. And as I've stepped away, the relief that I felt. And when I say stepped away, it's not like I finished my business, absolutely not, because I put way too much time, effort and love into my baby. I needed a break. I needed to step away. I thought I'd only have the summer holiday off, and then that came to an end, and I was like, I'm still not ready. I still don't know what I want. I'm in this place of feeling completely lost within my business. I'm not so much lost in myself, because, you know, I've put so much time and effort into working on who I am and healing from my symptoms and everything else that I was dealing with. But there's still this part of me that I still don't know, or like I still don't know what I want. I have an inkling here and there of what I want, and then that ego mind steps in and is like, yeah, but it's not enough, you need money, you got to have this and you got to have that. But I found that by having a part-time job, it takes the stress of that need, that scarcity, that lack, that fear is like disappeared, which is amazing, so amazing, because it was my driving force before, and that's not how you should run a business at all. It's just I didn't know that was my driving force until I stepped away. And I haven't gone back into the business side quite yet, because I think there's a part of me that is scared that it'll start going that way again. That driving force of, oh no, I need money, got to do this, got to do that, will come back. And I honestly, this is me literally discovering this as I'm chatting with you now. I didn't know this was a thing, but I think that is what it is. I think that's why I've been so unmotivated and feeling so lost, because if I start searching, if I start looking and deciding what it is that I want, and I start showing up again, then there's this like part of me, there's a part of my mind that goes, but then that might go into, got to do this, got to do that, more, better, bigger, instead of just doing what I want. But then knowing that helps, having that awareness helps. Figuring that out right now helps, because it just means that when I go back, when I finally decide to really step back into my business, that I can check in. I can check in to see, is this my ego? Is this my ego going, we need more? Because right now my part-time job is covering my bills. So anything I get out of my business is basically a bonus. And that is an incredible place to be at right now. To know that, to have that security and that safety right now. But at the same time, I feel like I can't go back into my business right now until I find what it is that I really want to do and how I want to move forwards. So I'm still writing my book, like I'm editing it, I'm still working on it, and that as well is draining. Like that takes effort, that takes a lot of sort of energy and emotions to do that, because it's just going over my story over and over again. And sometimes I read parts of the book and I start crying again, because I'm like, oh my God, that was so emotional, or that was so dramatic. And it takes energy from me. It does. It takes quite a bit of a chunk out of me. And that means I've got less to give to my business, which means I've got less to give to the people that I want to help. So I think until I finally have my book like edited to the best that I can right now, I won't be taking on any more clients, because I will not work with people if I can't give them my full attention. So I'm not taking any new clients on at the moment. I'm still working with previous clients, and then I have the podcast, which is something I do love to do. I love a chat. You know what I mean? Love a chat, love a good chat, because talking is my therapy. I like to talk things out. And by just talking to a microphone, because no one else is here, it's just me and the mic, and just getting it out, I feel like when I speak it out, my mind is getting rid of whatever it is that is kind of been bothering me or lingering, and by getting it out frees up space. And when I free up space, I'm like, oh, now I can see why this was an issue. Now I can see where this is coming from. Like, coming back to the business, like speaking just now and figuring out, oh, okay, so I don't actually want to go into my business because I have a fear of going back into giving too much of myself that I can't give anymore. It's just not possible. It doesn't work. It's not balanced. And I probably wouldn't have been able to figure that out unless I had a good chat with my mic here. So this is why I do the podcast. I like to just have a chat, because maybe you're in the same place as me. Maybe you're in a business, you have your own business, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore, or it doesn't feel like it aligns anymore, or you're feeling lost and you're not sure why you're feeling lost or unmotivated like I've been. I've just been so lacking in motivation that it's been frustrating, because I want to do things, but at the same time I'm like, nah, let's pick up another book. Let's go and escape into a reality, a fantasy where somebody's got magical powers and they are overcoming all their battles to find that they have this power within themselves. And I love a story like that. And I will read so many of those stories, and then I'm like, back to reality. Why aren't I overcoming my sort of obstacles? Where's my power? What am I doing? And that's what I've been building over the years, is all that. I've overcome so much. I've been building my own power, and yet I still sit there like, I need more. I want more. Where am I going? What am I doing? What's the next challenge? What am I overcoming? Instead of just accepting and being where I am and being like, this is good. This is nice. Like, I have fully enjoyed having time to read books, because I didn't even know that I thoroughly loved like reading a book for pleasure, like just cause, and not all self-development books, because those are the types of books that I've read before, that only those types of books really. I've never really gotten into fictional books and fantasy books, and now I'm like, I never had time before. I didn't have time to do that before, because it just felt like, well, if I'm doing that, I should be doing something else. I should be working on my business. And that was what I got back to every time. Anytime I did something for myself, I'd be like, oh, well, I should have spent time on the business. I should have spent time on developing that. I should have spent time creating this for them. And that is where that was my downfall. That was where I was always going wrong, because any spare time that I had, any extra energy that I had, instead of giving it to either myself or my family, I was just giving it to the business, a business that I didn't really have a proper focus of what I'm wanting. And I still don't have that, which is why, I'm still taking that time and that break at the moment. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm working on it. And I'm hoping right now my focus is the book and also podcasts, and just sharing these things, sharing whatever's on my mind, in my heart, my emotions, and just letting it out, just getting it out there, having a chat, feeling like, I just pretend sometimes. I pretend that someone's sitting in front of me with a cuppa, maybe a therapist. That's maybe how I see it in my head, is like, yes, they just nod and listen while I just let it all out, like verbal diarrhea, just get it all out. My podcast, when I do these, I never have a theme, I never have a script, I never have an idea of what I'm going to say. I just turn up because I feel like I need to get something out. and then I start talking and then it just comes out. So like this, I feel like is a bit of a ramble, but it needed to get out. And I appreciate it if you are still listening and you're still here. And I hope that these episodes are helpful to you, because they're mostly just my therapy. And if my experiences and my little chats on here helps anyone in any way, then that's a bonus, an absolute bonus. And it is why I will keep showing up, and I will keep sharing my random little thoughts and feelings and ideas and my aha moments, and even my sort of stupid moments and embarrassing moments. So I don't have a problem with sharing those things at all. Because half the time I'm laughing at myself. Another time I'm like, someone else has got to have experienced this and done this themselves. Like, I can't be the only one. So I'm gonna leave this here. And if you enjoyed it, if you've taken anything from it, then brilliant. And hopefully you will come back for my next episode. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. If you did, please share on social media, or if you'd like to share your thoughts with me directly, then you can message me at HopeLightUK on Instagram. And if you haven't done so already, hit the follow button to follow the podcast for more awesomeness, and I'll see you here next time.